So just mathematically speaking, this is set up to spiral upwards more than any other stock that I can find. Alright, welcome to Talking Investing. I am Tom, I am not a financial advisor. We're here to talk about all things investing, and today I want to talk to you about a company called BEEM Global, stock ticker BEEM. I did a video on BEEM about 1 month ago, and subsequent to that they've reported earnings, but their stock has remained basically unchanged, somewhere in the $28.50 range. So I want to talk about this for two reasons. Number one, I think it's a good investment. I like this company. But number two, I think this is the number one setup for a short squeeze in the entire stock market. I don't know why no one's talking about this. I know there's a lot of popular short squeezes that we're in the middle of. I'm not really one that plays the super short-term short squeeze game. I'm more of a long-term investor or a swing trade investor. But to me, this lined up because this is a company that I think is a long-term investment from my perspective. And in addition to that, it's just absolutely the perfect storm set up to be a short squeeze. So I don't know how it hasn't already happened. And, I don't have a crystal ball, but it is a mystery to me how it hasn't happened already. And I will go through the numbers and show you why I think this is a short squeeze waiting to happen. Okay, so I talked about the company in my last video and went through what they did and who they were, so I don't want to spend too much time on that in this video. So I'm just going to show you, this is their website, so that at least you can see the product. What they make is a solar-powered EV charging station. This is off the grid. No electricity needed. It is also mobile, so they can drive it up for 60 grand. This can be yours. This stock is checking a lot of boxes. It's in the solar sector. It's in the electric vehicle sector. It's a benefit to the environment. And so this company has a lot of intangibles going for it in its favor. In addition to that, they're actually executing and selling these. They have a lot of municipalities already buying and implementing these. They have a nice backlog. They have a gigantic pipeline. They're looking at a compound annual growth rate that may be, 100% over the next few years. That's about as good as it gets. I'm not going to dig too deep on why I think this is a good investment. If you want to see that, you can watch my previous video. It's a very sound company. They have an excellent business plan. I just talked about a few reasons. What I really want to talk about in this video is why I think this is a short squeeze waiting to happen. Let's go to the numbers. I'm just going to point out a few key numbers. Number one, this is a $256 million market cap company. So this is a very small market cap company. Now, to put that in perspective, I want to show you another company. This is Blink Charging. They're also an EV charging company. Now, very different products, so they don't necessarily compete head-to-head, but they're clearly in the same space, both charging electric vehicles. So, but in different times and places and in a different manner. So this company has a very similar revenue path, a very similar growth rate. In fact, BEEM is anticipating more growth than Blink is. So again, they're about the same size from a revenue standpoint. Now, this company has a little bit more cash on their balance sheet, but both companies are extremely cash rich. And this company is trading at $1.31 billion market cap. When I look at this company, I think it has a very similar value to BEEM, and it's already trading at $1.3 billion, and BEEM was at $257 million. Now I'm going to show you something else because these two companies have another thing in common. This is MarketWatch's list of short interest stocks. So BEEM is one of the most shorted stocks in the entire stock market. So right here on MarketWatch's list, they are the 5th most shorted stock in the stock market with 36.1% of the float being shorted right now. What I wanted to show you is if you go down just 2 lines, so the 7th most shorted stock in the entire stock market is Blink Charging. Blink Charging is the other EV charging company that we just talked about. So Blink is at almost a 34% short interest. So Blink, after being beaten down with a 34% short interest, has a $1.3 billion market cap. BEEM, which I view as a very similar company, has a $257 million market cap. So to me, that's the first thing that makes no sense at all. So the first thing I would say is BEEM doesn't even need a short squeeze to 2x or 3x, in my opinion. Again, this is not financial advice. Please go look into everything I'm saying and make your own decision. The way I'm looking at this is it's 1/5 the size of what I call almost a direct competitor that has very similar numbers. It can 2.5x just to get back to where it was trading earlier this year. So this is a beaten down stock. It's a highly shorted stock, but it has more in its favor. Now I want to show you a few numbers that are the most important numbers and the numbers that I think set this up to go. If you look at the shares outstanding, there's 8.93 million shares outstanding. So that's under 9 million shares, and there's 8.07 million shares on the float. That is one of the lowest numbers I've ever seen for a company. By the way, BEEM is in the Russell 2000. So this is not some company that nobody's ever heard of. These guys should be on the radar, and I'm not sure why they're not. So I think you'd be hard-pressed to find too many other Russell 2000 stocks that only have 8 million shares in the float. For a quick perspective, I just want to show you the most famous short squeezes. So number one, this is AMC. So when you look at AMC, they have 513 million shares outstanding, 511 million shares in the float. This company has over 60 times as many shares outstanding as BEEM does. This stock got up to $72.62. This actually wasn't the big short squeeze of the year. It's certainly the most famous, it's the most high profile, and it rages on as we speak. But I just want to show you GameStop. That is the one that started all of this. GameStop has 56 million shares in the float. So that has 7 times as many shares on the float than BEEM does. These guys went from a $5 or $10 stock. They worked their way up to $20 or $30. They got up to $483. And I remember in after hours trading, they got well over $500. As an aside, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a video. So this stock was the big short squeeze this year. There have been a lot of them. This is very popular. There's a lot of what they're calling meme stocks and all that kind of stuff that are, everybody's trying to gather together and with some level of success putting on some short squeezes. So let me go to my summary page so that I can show you my argument as to why I think this is by far the most likely short squeeze. Let's just summarize again. Number of shares outstanding, 8.8 million. There's a 32.9% short of the total number of shares. Number of shares in the float, 8.1 million. So that's a 36% short on the float. Number of shares shorted, 2,924,936. Here's the final piece of my argument that I have not talked about yet. The average daily trading volume on this stock is 283,495 shares. So they have a short interest that is more than 10 times the average number of shares that are traded daily. So what that means is they have over a 10-day trading window of normal trading volume that it would take in order for the shorts just to cover their positions. Now, obviously, that's not how it happens. That tends to happen much more all at once, over 1 or 2 or 3 super high volume trading days. But the thing is, this stock is in short supply. So you've got 2.9 million shares shorted, but there's only 8 million shares of this stock. As investors buy and hold this, the supply will get smaller and smaller and smaller. The price will continue to go up. You've got 2.9 million or 36% of the float shorted that are going to need to cover at some point. So just mathematically speaking, this is set up to spiral upwards more than any other stock that I can find. Much more so than AMC. Remember, there was 500 million shares outstanding in AMC. So for the retail investors to try and take control of that and maintain control of 500 million shares is much more difficult than trying to take control of a company that has 8 million shares. Now, AMC actually trades for a higher number than BEEM. So it's not like those shares are cheap and these shares are expensive. Right now, AMC's over $40, Beam's at $28. So I think when this gets on the radar, the probability of investors and really just even the retail investors taking charge and taking control of these 8 million shares, once they get the majority of these shares, it's going to be very hard. Almost 3 million shares have to cover their shorts on a stock that only has 8 million shares. If retail investors were to be holding 5 or 6 or 7 million of those shares, for a short window of time, this could spiral out of control. So again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know that that's going to happen. The stock market does strange things. This, to me, seems like the number one, by far, most likely candidate for a short squeeze. These are my thoughts on Beam Global. I like it in the short term for a potential short squeeze. I like it in the long term as a high quality investment. You guys will have to decide for yourself as to what you think. So let me know in the comments if you think this is a good short squeeze, or if you know of another stock out there that has numbers like this that could potentially squeeze. So if you think it's a good short squeeze, spread the word.